Not exactly sure how I'm gonna title this review. A bunch of nonsense left in the dark or still searching for answers. Now, a bunch of nonsense makes it seem as though I didn't like this, which is far from it. But it isn't entirely false either. More on that a bit later. Left in the dark is kind of true, but at this point, after having watched all 2 seasons fully, we aren't exactly left in the dark, but we are still yearning for a lot of answers, so I think I'm gonna go with the third option. This show, despite it being a bunch of nonsense and no straight answers, keeps me wanting more, and I hope it's moving to one big epic conclusion, one that tells me almost all the secrets and mysteries, because I'm still yearning for so many answers, just like the people of this godforsaken town are. And to learn that season 3 is maybe, around a year away? It's been estimated, last time I checked, that it was going to be released mid to late next year because of the writer's strike or something along those lines. Yeah, God, I need the next part now. But before I get too ahead of myself, let's take a step back. So From is a series I heard about last year and people were raving about it and how good it was. In fact, my friend said that it was one of his favorite series or shows or whatever you want to call it of all time, and he is no average viewer. I mean, he watches a lot of media, such as especially horror thrillers that have twists like this one. Although after watching this, it's more of, I would say it's more of a drama thriller with a supernatural vibe rather than the horror vibe you get from watching it initially, where, you find out it's about this town that traps its visitors and residents, and then there are these monsters that come out from the woods at night to hunt you down or whatever. Which is crazy because that's the kind of stuff that I love. So how I have never watched this one is insane to me. I guess it's because I'm the movie guy, or I'd like to think of myself as the movie guy. I've, built up this channel mainly talking about movies, and being like that for a couple years now has made me build up a sort of impatience for sitting through long episodes after long episodes like in a series like this one. So for me to get through all this wanting more is just a real testament to how good this show is, because this series was slow paced as hell. Like, it's crazy. At this point, after hours of content from season 1 to 2, we still don't really have a clear idea as to who the hell these monsters are and, what they're trying to do and where they've come from. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, the ambiguous nature of it all is why you're begging for more. It keeps the audience retention or whatever you want to call it, and that's pretty smart. That is pretty smart, right? And that's right. Some people don't want to learn about everything. The mystery of it is what's scary. True, but I'm the type of guy who wants to learn at least towards the end, right? Like, maybe not all, but at least like most of the main, little details and the main plot holes or whatever, the main, like, what it's all about. Have at least my main questions answered towards the end, because if not, then it's just, it becomes open-ended, and I'm not a big fan of open-ended stuff, and I just hate, like, having it at the back of my mind, is like still trying to figure it out and what it all means. See, the best thing would be if there was some twist at the end that just ends up blowing you away, so that's what I'm hoping. Because as of now, this show feels a lot like past shows, taking a blend of a lot of things like The Walking Dead, Exorcist, Supernatural, I don't know, stuff like that, where it's just a lot of supernatural elements that come into play. Then if you know me, I dislike supernatural horror a lot because they can just make up the dumbest shit possible, right? It's just a bunch of just dumb like, I don't believe in that. Spirits, ghosts, none of that. Like, it's just dumb. And that's where the bunch of nonsense stuff comes in. Because there's just a lot of crap about, I don't want to say crap, but that's kind of like understating. There's just a lot of like stuff about hallucinations, seeing things, spirits, and all that stuff. And like, I'm just hoping, that it just ends with something more tangible that's that's somewhat like that's more grounded. At least that's what I hope. And like I said, I still have so many more questions. Like I didn't expect season 1 to end just like that. I mean, I swear to God, if I saw season 1 and then had to wait another year for season 2, like I'm sure a lot of people did, I probably would not have been happy at all because it just ended so like abruptly, so suddenly with really no ending or explanation. Anyway, okay, maybe I should have had said all this after what I'm gonna say next, but I just had to get all that stuff off my chest because they're talking points, man. And I'm a little hot and bothered about that right now. Sure, as you just heard, this show is a bit frustrating, but that still didn't stop me from being immersed in the performances, the atmosphere, and the idea and concept of it. Like I said, it's fairly slow. I mean, the monsters, which were the main part, you would think, don't really play as huge a part in this as you maybe would have liked or would have thought it would. But I'm actually fine with that because From focuses more on the place, what this place does to the people inside it, how they cope, almost like they are little test subjects. The scariest part of this isn't the monsters, they only fuel this nightmare, but it's how the people cope, both mentally and physically, and you see the best and worst from them. Man, this show was so kind of sad and not kind of, but really sad and depressing when I first started watching it. Holy. All the main characters get their little intro sooner or later, and you learn to sympathize with them, and it's like you're experiencing this with them. For instance, one character I just could not stand for the first few episodes was Sarah, but over time, you learn to sympathize with the character and be like, hey, everyone has their own story, and everyone's lost someone, and even though, you've done bad things, we're all in this together, and shit happens. Now, because there are a lot of characters, and that only gets amplified in the second season, there's a lot of back and forth between character journeys and their quests. Some are more interesting than others, of course, so there have been points where I have been a little bit impatient and was like, hey, what happened to that one character? Because, there's so many characters, and to go through all of the groups or teams, I guess, it takes a while to get back to the characters that speak to you the most, or the characters that are the most interesting. Now, even though I like basically all the main characters in the show, and they all play a part within this nightmare, and you see them go through a lot, there are some standouts. For me, at least, Jade was my favorite in season 1 because he was just this uptight, crazy lunatic who thought this was all a game and a joke. But over time, you learn that he is the smartest motherfucker in the group, and his sheer determination and grit got things to happen. And it was he had the most interesting scenes, along with Victor as an honorable mention, I guess. But Victor was just a weird cunt. But I mean, like, Jade was just an entertaining character overall. And Randall was my favorite in season 2, even though he's an asshole. Because similarly to Jade, he painted the picture in all of our heads that this was all a game or like a test, and someone was behind this and they have people on the inside. That's crazy. Like, it's just what you can do. Like, you don't know what to think. You don't know if this asshole's right. You don't know if he's wrong after everything you've seen happen. So yeah, and yeah, I was wondering if this show would go the same way as the end of the first Maze Runner movie would go. Where the kids find out that the maze was all a test and not real, and that really intrigued me and made me think. Now, obviously, these are just standout characters. Like, I like a lot of the characters in the show. Boyd, of course, and Kenny and stuff, but yeah. But ultimately, as a viewer, I still have no clue what's really going on, which is frustrating, like I said. But it is a great thing because that makes me look forward to what's to come, which is definitely on the horizon. I mean, I have pieces of information. It's like a puzzle, where there are multiple different combinations, but you don't know which one is right. while we were left majorly in the dark in the first season, season 2 really opened things up for us. But overall, we still don't know what these monsters are, we still don't know how to escape this godforsaken place, and we still don't know why they keep having these horrible hallucinations. Well, we are closer to answering the second one, but we are ultimately still searching for answers, and we can only theorize at this point. I'm going to give From Season 1 and 2 an A-. As of right now, I had an absolute blast watching it, and it's definitely one that I'm really intrigued by, despite its slowness. Like, it's one that keeps me begging for more, but ultimately, you'd imagine mystery thrillers to go, like, everything rests, or not everything, but most things rest on the conclusion, right? So, it's either B+ or an A- for me. Nothing lower, nothing higher. As of right now, that is. Ultimately, I just don't know, man. I don't think this was one of the best things I've ever watched. Best series, probably not. Yet I still want more of it. I'm really conflicted. Like, I enjoyed the ride, but yeah, everything rests on the conclusion. You know what would have been cool though? Man, if, like, this is what I thought in the first few episodes, if this was like a movie, or even if it was in the series too, but like if we saw it from the traveling family's perspective, and we were as clueless as them, right? When they first arrived at this establishment, we knew that it was kind of fucked up. Like, we kind of saw, Boyd and all of them talking and stuff. So, yeah, it would have been cool to see it from the family's perspective, be clueless, but over time, we learn more and more about the monsters. I don't know, has there been a movie like that? I don't know. But I think that would have been better for the series, so that there'd be more twists, I guess. Because right now, I don't know. There haven't really been... It's just been an interesting watch. There haven't really been too many twists, I guess. But yeah, I skipped Hunger Games, Ballads, and Songbirds for this. Was it worth? I guess. I have a lot to talk about, so this video is going to be kind of long. Hopefully I covered a lot of things. I didn't talk season by season. I didn't go into too specifics, even though I think at this point it's fine because it's been out for a while and I can talk about spoilers, but because I'm just used to talking about stuff vaguely because I upload movie reviews like first, mostly spoiler-free ones, but also because I don't want to spoil for anyone, and also because I feel like I need to talk about this. Like, season 1 and season 2 feel so connected, right? That it just feels like an overarching season rather than 2 seasons, because it doesn't end towards the end of season 1. It just keeps going. Whereas, season 1 probably focused more on the horror side. Season 2 probably focused more on the supernatural side. But yeah, that's why I didn't really talk specific seasons. It all felt like an overarching story. But yeah, skipped the Hunger Games for this. I was meant to watch it tonight, but I thought about it and I'm like, I'm not a big fan. I enjoyed the Hunger Games, the original 4 films back in 2015, 2014, whatever they came out. I enjoyed them. I watched them. I never read the books, and I sure as hell didn't read this new movie, the prequels book, Ballads of Songbirds. Even though back then, when I was a teenager, I did read a lot of books. I read all of the 39 Clues books, hoping there'd be a film on that, but that film never came to fruition. But yeah, I never really read, so I thought about it, I'm like, okay, while I did want to watch that movie, I just, talking about it, oh man, it's going to be people coming in, saying, oh, you don't have the knowledge or expertise to talk about this movie because you didn't read the book and all that jazz. So I thought about it and I'm like, hey, I'm not that huge of a Hunger Games fan. I didn't really want to read, like, I like to go into movies blind, but obviously if I read the book and know more, it'd be a way more detailed review. So yeah, in order to save myself from embarrassment or like not get people, worked up about me not having the knowledge or expertise to review a movie, I didn't do that one. So Might still watch it in the future, might not, but it's not that important. I'm currently watching series and stuff. I'm watching The Boys right now, and that's really good. But yeah, that's besides the point. I think I might watch more series now because films just don't do it for me anymore. At least, you know what? I'm looking forward to Napoleon, and maybe Aquaman and some other, even though that movie doesn't look the best, but whatever, I'm getting off topic now. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching. Let me know what you think down below. Like and sub if you enjoyed, and as always, feel free to check out any of my previous videos. Until next time.